So a lot of traders and investors are wondering, is now the time to buy Alibaba stock? Within this video, I'm going to give you an in-depth technical analysis and my strategy going over why I believe now is the time to buy Alibaba stock for short-term call options and leap options. In terms of the midterm price action, I think it's going to be a bit choppy and I would stay away from the options in terms of the midterm, but for the short term and the leaps, the long-term call options, I think they're going to print and I think now is a great time to buy them. So towards the end of this video, we'll be going over some option contracts and what to buy. In terms of right now, we are going to go over the strategy, the in-depth technical analysis on why I strongly believe now is the time to buy Alibaba stock. So first things first, this stock has been on a consistent downtrend since, mid-October last year. So in terms of the long-term perspective of this chart, it's bullish. It's consistently reaching for new all-time highs. It is consistently filling all of the gap downs that has filled throughout its history, right? So that's what I love to see on a chart. A stock consistently reaching for new all-time highs. When it gaps down, eventually it climbs back up and fills those gaps above, right? Love to see that. However, in terms of this trend, consistently going down since mid-October. So how can we confirm that now is the bottom? What confirmations can we use to try and confirm that now is the time to buy, that now is the bottom? One thing I like to do is when I see a stock on a consistent downtrend is I like to see when does it typically bottom percentage-wise, right? So going back throughout, Alibaba's biggest crashes in history, this was, one of them right here. This was actually its second biggest crash in history. The first one was the one, in terms of October last year till now, till today's low. So let's go over this. From 120s to 57s, stock basically drops under 50%. And then it bottoms and it skyrockets new all-time highs long term. So basically a 50% crash was the bottom. And you can see right here from 319 to $152, right? So down 50% again. So that's a great bullish confirmation in terms of, catching a bottom and a bottom confirmation. Typically crashes no more than 50%. That's what I've noticed with this long-term daily chart. So that's one of my confirmations. Now, in terms of the strategy. So in terms of the strategy, I've been using the strategy to consistently make money within the stock market. When you're done watching this video, I really do encourage you. This will help you become such a better trader on what it is that I look for, and it will teach you so much more about the strategy. I encourage you to go back and watch these videos. The strategy, you can call it a gap close reversal to fill the gap above. Go back and watch these videos. You will see that the strategy is consistently working, and I'm consistently finding plays, typically one amazing opportunity every single week with huge upside potential with these options. Go back and watch the following videos in terms of the strategies. Look for Sava stock. You'll see within my series, go back, throughout my videos on the channel, look for the Sava stock series. You'll see that. And then go to my recent one, Amazon stock. You'll see that. But let's get into this. As you can see, this is a key support level. Not only is it a key support level, but there's a gap to fill right here at $153.67, where I drew this red line. So you got a gap to fill at $153.67, right? So in terms of how did the stock react when it filled that gap, as you could see, as soon as the stock closed this gap, as soon as it filled that gap, it started turning it into a support level. Then it took off and went from red to green on the day, having a gap close reversal. So what we're looking for is, we're looking for not just any ordinary gap. We're looking for a stock that has a gap up, that is consistently trending up, consistently reaching for new all-time highs, that explodes over time for the short term, midterm, and long term. And then we wait for it to fill that gap. Once it fills that gap at that key oversold daily chart level with huge upside potential for the short term, midterm, long term, then we wait for it to turn into support. Once it turns into support, history repeats itself and the stock explodes. As you can see in terms of the short term, this ramped up very, very quickly into the 170s. So for the short term, my price target is going to be in the $172 range. So basically what that strategy is, we have the gap close reversal as it has closed this gap, an extremely oversold low gap due for, bounce correction as it's currently having. And then from there, what we're doing is we're playing for the gap to fill above. In terms of the short-term gap to fill above that we're playing for, we are simply playing for this gap to fill right here at $172.35, right? And then if that turns into a support level, the stock's going to skyrocket and close this gap at $182.71. If this turns into a resistance level, then it's going to start to trend back down. So we take it one gap key level, key price level at a time, support, resistance, simple as that. So yeah, that is, in terms of some of the basics of the strategy, that is what it is that we look for. Just to show you this pattern, this trend is consistently working. I see many other people, they're focused on buying stocks at all-time highs, while I'm focused on buying great companies that are consistently reaching for new all-time highs, but I'm buying them at the lows of their dips. Compare this pattern, this trend to Amazon stock. I literally did the same exact thing on Amazon stock. You can see right here, key oversold support level, and there's a gap to fill right at this red line. The stock gaps up, it ramps up, huge upside potential, wait for it to gap down, wait for it to close the gap. Once it turns into support, right here turns into support, boom, the stock takes off. History is literally repeating itself to a T. I'm putting all the odds in my favor. I'm positioning myself where the trade is based off of history. And once I get those confirmations and history repeats itself, typically for me, that's 70% plus of the time, the stock is going to do what it previously did. Look right here. Amazon, same candlestick here, same candlestick right here. Look what it does right here. It goes to 3,268. Look what happens today. History repeats itself to a T, same exact pattern. And now we have this same identical pattern, this gap close reversal where stock closes the gap, has a reversal, then starts to fill the gap waiting to fill above. For Amazon, for the short term, you got that gap to fill above at 3,300. And then for the leaps, for the long term, you have that gap to fill right here at 600. So you can play these for the short term, and you can also play these, short-term swing trades. And then you can also play them for the long term, the leap options, because there's other gaps to fill above as well, right? So this is the beauty of the strategies, guys. So like I said, we did the same thing. Go back, watch the videos on Sava as well. You can see right here, Sava had a gap to fill, literally the same exact pattern, same exact trend as the Amazon, same candle, right? And then there's gaps to fill right here, massive gap up, ramps up. Right here, huge oversold correction, great company, closes the gap, bounces, just like Alibaba, just like Amazon, and then boom, it takes off. History repeats itself, massive gap up, right? And as you can see, Alibaba stock is already repeating history and it is already gapping up here during after hours, right? So be on the watch for this strategy. It's already ramping up massively, $162.75, guys. So that's what I want you to look for. I really want you to look for, what we're looking for is stocks that are gapping up, right? That just take off, right? They just take off. They're a gap and go. They continue to run up. The bigger the run, the better. And ideally in a short period of time. It could also work for a long period of time, right? And then from there, wait for the massive gap down. Wait for the stock to close these, oversold lower gaps. And then once they fill their gaps, wait for the reversal, wait for them to turn into support, wait for the bounce, buy into the confirmation, buying the oversold gap, waiting to fill below towards the lows with huge upside potential. Look at this. This is your next support level. This is your downside potential right here. And this is your upside potential for the short term. And then for the long term, so much more upside potential. So in terms of the call options, I ended up, grabbing these. Like I said, strike price is $157.50. These expired this Friday, so this is going to be a short-term play. And I do also encourage leap options for Alibaba as well. It's at a phenomenal price. So I'm currently up 7% on these. It is currently gapping up here in after hours. So I'm going to be up a lot more on those heading tomorrow if it continues to hold up that gap up, opening in the green. Average cost $7.70. So I played it safe in the money and I have 15 contracts. So yeah, that's that. And as you guys know, if you've been watching, my previous videos, I'm still in my Amazon call options. In terms of my Amazon call options, those printed up over 150% profit return on those. So going to continue to hold those as my price target is currently at 3,300 for the short term. Now, in terms of Alibaba, this is what I would look for, in terms of buying tomorrow. Look to buy the dip in the morning at around 9:45, 9:50 a.m. as long as it, gaps up and holds that key level. And I would look for morning dip right around $161, $162 in between that range. In terms of the options, I would look to, you can either go, it's up to you, in the money or out of the money. In terms of in the money, I would look into right here, the $160 strike. That's a good one. In terms of out of the money, I would look into, this can be a good one as well, 170 strike to 172.5. I like those in terms of out of the money. So yeah, these should do very well today and these should print. So yeah, guys, that's my analysis on Alibaba stock. Like I said, we're consistently using this strategy to make money. I'm getting a lot of requests, of people wanting me to start a chat room, launch the service and the alerts and all that stuff. And like I said, soon enough, I will be launching a program and it will be a one-time fee. So more information on that will be released soon enough. I appreciate your patience and waiting. A lot of work in that is going, in terms of behind the scenes and stuff like that. I have a lot going on. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the channel. Make sure to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you in the next lesson.